Hello. So I'm going to make a video here to go along with the tutorial on how to install Moksha on Debian Bullseye on a low resource system. I've set this virtual machine, I'm doing it in a virtual machine, but I've set it as 32-bit, 512 megs of memory, 1 CPU at 1.6 gigahertz, and what was the other thing? I'm just going to click through all this so that I'm not wasting time. And 8 gig hard drive. So I'm just going to click through the installer. You notice on the first screen I told it the graphical installer, but instead it's doing the text-based installer. That's because if you watch this video and click in the right spot, you'll probably see it, but it probably says there's not enough memory to run the graphical installer doing the text-based one, which is fine. So I'm going to go through this whole process in real time. I've scripted the installation of Moksha, so once this gets started, it's just going to be going for an hour by itself. Okay, so I'm just hitting enter. I let it use, for root password, leave this blank. Username, I'm going to just call it Bullseye. You do have to set a username, and you do have to set a password. It's one of the few times you don't have to you can't just hit enter. And of course you should set your correct time zone, but if you just hit enter it would still work. So what was I saying? Yeah, I've scripted this all. And if you look through the script on the forum post, you'll see that it's just finish. Yeah, and this is one. Yes. Okay, so if you look on the forum post, you'll see I've written it in a way that, if you're familiar with shell commands and stuff, I've commented in a way that you can understand it, or just run it all, or take off the extras I've added to the end because you won't need you don't need them. But what I'm going to do here is, and then I put it on paste bin, so the whole forum post just directly copied and pasted to paste bin because I wrote it in such a way that it will run as a script. So then as soon as this is done installing, I'm going to tell it, don't add anything, just boot me to a simple console. Then I'm going to run that script and it will do everything for me. So there won't be much to do other than turn off the mic and skip forward about an hour from when that starts, because yeah, this I also don't have the fast, besides the fact I said I've only got 512 meg of RAM and 1.6 gig CPU. It's also depending on the internet. I used the net installation CD, but that's really not, it doesn't really have to download that. It's going to have to download everything, all the dependencies, everything like that. So it's going to probably take up to an hour from the time I actually start running my script to do everything that script does, which when you look, you'll see it's more than just install Moksha. And if you skip through the end of the video to the first time and see what it looks like when it's done, I'll spend a few minutes customizing it at the end of this video, but for now we're just installing Debian. So I'm doing this on the 15th of February. This is like 3 days after the package freeze for Bullseye, the soft freeze or hard freeze, I don't know, middle freeze, but it's not officially frozen completely yet for another month. So if you're watching this in the future, you'll probably be able to do this with the real Bullseye. If you're downloading it now, there's a link in the forum post, direct links to downloads of the CD, but you can either use the beta, or what they call it, Alpha 3 from December, and it'll just update the rest of the stuff anyway, and you'll end up the same in the end. Or you can just download the daily testing, which is the same thing. If we were running the graphical installer, it says Debian 11. They've got it all ready on the current version, but the alpha still says Debian 10 on it. But anyway, I don't have any extra media, and I'm just clicking through this stuff. What else? there won't be much to say. You know, this Debian installation is going to be done fairly quickly because, like I said, I'm not going to install a desktop on it through its installer. We're going to do it through my script, and it'll be the way it'll probably use about 150, 200 megs of RAM on first boot, and it'll idle around there too. After you open and close things, it'll always be around 150 to 200, maybe occasionally a little less if it swaps some core stuff, like when you run something big, but in general it'll be 150 to 200. I'm going to install Minitube. The version in Bullseye, okay, so this question, PopCon, I said yes. They, once a week, if you have the machine running at the right time, or I don't know how it'll catch up if you run it later. Okay, here's where I select what to install. I'm going to say nothing. You hit spacebar, nothing's connected. Continue. That popularity contest, once a week as a cron job, it'll send a copy of whatever software you have installed, including your kernel version and stuff. So that I think that's good for us 32-bit users because, you know, they need to know that people are still using 32 bits. So yeah, turn that on, but you don't have to. But it's not going to use resources other than once a week send a list of all your installed packages to Debian HQ without identifying information or anything, just a list of your installed packages. And then you can actually go look up the stats. There's a website. You can go see what everyone has installed. Yeah, like the number of people reporting each thing. Install, yep. And so I did have to change that. I couldn't just hit enter. That was one of the times I had to actually select something. So what was I talking about? Popularity contest? Oh yeah, you can check it on their on the website somewhere and go look at it. One thing interesting to note, that there's about 10% as many 32-bit kernel installs as 64-bit, but everything else, like ARM64, which is the next thing, 10% of that. So I mean, there's still plenty of 386, i386. I don't think anyone's actually using a 386, but plenty of Pentium 4 users out there, and maybe a few Pentium 3 users out there too. Installation is complete, so Debian's now installed. It's going to reboot to a terminal, well, to a login prompt and then a terminal. And then I'm going to do, what I said on my forum post. I'm going to grab that script. I'm going to run it in complete, although you can open it with nano, delete off lines that you don't want. You know, the closer you get to the end, the less you might want things. But, for example, there's 4 browsers installed. You might want to delete out 1 or 2 of them. But why not? You know, you can let it install them all. You don't have to watch it. Actually, the reason one reason I'm making a video is because I made a video to test the script because I didn't want to sit here and watch it, but that way I could scroll back, because yeah, you can't scroll back in a terminal like this. So, but I've already ran it through once and I know it runs. Okay, so we're at the first login. That's the username I created. So if you so we need webget to be able to grab the script from pastebin, and we need nano. Well, we don't need nano. There is vi, but I'm not good with vi, so I'm going to use nano if I wanted to edit the script before running it, or in my case, I'm actually going to change resolution so this video looks better. But you don't have to do that. You could wait till you get into the desktop before you do that. This is I got XTQ9E dash capital O dash pipe TR apostrophe backslash R apostrophe space redirect go Moksha. Okay, so now I've got the script. That TR stuff was trimming the line, the control carriage returns from pastebin. Okay, so I'm going to do something extra here. I'm going to set my resolution. Such a default grub. Like I said, you could normally just start the script now or edit take off some lines if you wanted to, but I wanted the video to look better, so I'm going to switch this resolution, Graphics mode, we're going to use 1280 by 1024 because that's a typical resolution for old things, and you can do 720p on it. Grub graphics payload Linux equals keep. That'll make it stay that way. Okay, so now I can actually start running that script that I made. So it is, I hope this video is fixing window, but okay. Sudo bash go moksha $user capital. That's necessary to pass your username to the script so it does things. Now this is going to run like crazy. And from this point on, there's nothing much to do. I'm going to turn off the mic. I'm going to make sure the window's sized correctly, and then come back and check on it in every so often. But I'll try to be here when it finishes. It'll probably take half hour, 45 minutes. So skip through the video unless you want to see it do everything. Okay. There we go. Did I ever turn off the mic? No, okay. Turn off this mic. Somehow that Just checking in at the 42-minute mark. See how it's going. Everything looks normal. What's it doing? I doubt anyone's gonna listen to this or even watch this, but figured since I'm looking at it, I will talk. Okay, it looks like it's doing apps. Okay, yep, must have finished installing Moksha, and it's doing all the make it nice section. I think in step 5, that is setting up events. That's to read PDFs, so that when you click on a PDF, it doesn't say do nothing. Or if you didn't install that, and installed a browser, it'd probably open it in a browser. But if you had the right thing. But anyway, it's nice to have a PDF app. I put apps that install that'll open almost any file you click on. Of course, a file manager, the one that Bodhi Linux usually uses, so that it's is this window not all the way open? No, it is. It just doesn't look right. Yeah, PC Man File Manager, and events is except for PDFs. We saw that earlier. Don't know what else. Image Magic right there. That opens graphics files, lets you resize and stuff like that. It's very basic. It's also used by NeoFetch to display graphics in the terminal. So even if you install another photo editor, probably want to leave Image Magic installed. But if you don't install a photo editor, it does work for your cropping and resizing needs, and it can be used very well from the terminal. That's what it's really meant for. It's got a very old looking user interface. Then what else did I put? Let's see if there's something in the NeoFetch itself. So yeah, NeoFetch, that's just for show, mainly for screenshots. It's a good thing to put in your screenshot if you're ever sharing your desktop, because basically what it shows you already know. But if you ever need to check what type of CPU you have, what type of GPU you have, how your uptime, all that stuff's on there. Actually, for CPU and GPU, unless you memorize that stuff, it is useful to look on there. And but there is no system information GUI that I'm installing. So anyway, NeoFetch is the way to go. It's your basic system info in a pretty way. What are we doing now here? GTK. So the GTK2 engines, that's because the PCMan File Manager says something about clear looks missing, blah blah blah, unless you install that. So it gets rid of that GTK warning. I assume it makes PCMan File Manager look better in some way. It does use a GTK theme, so whatever GTK theme you select affects the colors in PCMan File Manager. Okay, so now it looks like it's setting up themes. I picked 4 of the themes. Art Green, which is the one that ships with Bodhi Linux, so it's the most developed theme. And then my favorite is Moksha Green. And when this is done, I'll mix those 2 themes to make it good, because I like the menus and black background in Moksha Green. I like the dark look. Art Green is it's a dark look, but it's more grayish instead of black. Moksha Passion is fun to try. So Detour, I like the borders. So anyway, those are just 4 themes you can try. You can also install any other Bodhi theme from the Bodhi 6 repository, which this does add as low priority. However, there are 2 themes there. Of them all, there's probably 20 total. 2 of them won't install. They'll tell you're missing a dependency, and it's some Ubuntu package that Debian doesn't have. So I'm sure there's a way to make it work, but if you really want it, just find the source and build it and make install it, because that would be easier. Although then you don't get the GTK themes that go along with it. It's much easier just to install the package, except for those 2, which was LK4K was one that I like some of those icons, so I usually I use it on my real desktop. Some of those icons, I don't use the whole theme, but I use a few elements from it normally. Anyway, I couldn't install it. I don't think you can install Moksha modules this way either from the Bodhi 6 repo. Basically, it's just there for the other themes that do work, because otherwise you're stuck with a default theme until you build a theme from source and install a GTK theme from source, or not from, you can install those from wherever, but you wouldn't get the matching one that matched Moksha, etc. Okay, what's it doing now? Firefox. So with Firefox, it's installing it from what's called Debian Unstable, but Debian Unstable is not completely unstable. They have an experimental, which is their unstable. But anyway, the Firefox from Debian Unstable is the Firefox stable from Mozilla. So it's not an unstable version of Firefox, and I set the priority super low. Nothing will install automatically from unstable without you specifying. But anyway, the Firefox version is a stable version. It just comes from the unstable repository because they keep ESR, the extended service release version, in their main repository, which you can install instead. Firefox-ESR, it's a normal package you can add. It's just like at version 78. And you know, if you're installing a new version of Linux, don't you probably want new versions of stuff. Otherwise you just stick with your old version, right? That's probably why you're installing this, is you want to run new apps on your old 32-bit machine. So anyway, there's the new and now it's doing Pale Moon. Pale Moon also not in Debian repositories. It is in Bodhi repositories, but not they haven't added it for Bodhi 6, and I don't want to add the Bodhi 5 repos because that would just to Debian, that would just cause too many mistakes, too many incompatibilities. So I install that from the official Pale Moon sponsored repository on OpenSUSE, I think it is. Yeah, OpenSUSE's website, but it's the official one. I mean, it's the one recommended by Pale Moon, and I think it's also where Bodhi sources its packages from too. Although I think it just repackages. I don't think it rebuilds, but I could be wrong on that. In either case, this is a better source because it's safe. Now what are we doing? I don't know. Oh, Chromium. Yeah, it's doing all the browsers. So if you're running this yourself, you can go through and comment out some of the browsers or let it install all 4. So Chromium does come straight from official repos. So does GNOME Web, which is the next one it's going to install. Epiphany Browser is the package name. And that's mainly there because it's tiny. I'm mainly installing it for testing purposes, but it's the smallest, lightest browser there is. So if you really only have 512 megs of RAM, you might try to use that primarily until you run into sites that it doesn't work, or you want an ad blocker, in which case I'd say Pale Moon, way to go, because you can run an ad blocker and still look at 1 or 2 tabs with your 512 megs. Pretty good. You can't go tab crazy, but 1 or 2 tabs, you can do everything. You can do Google Maps, or YouTube will look bad. YouTube probably won't keep up. But Minitube, that's the next thing. That's what it's installing stuff for now. So Minitube, the deal with Minitube is the version in Bullseye repositories 3.6 works, but doesn't. I mean, it runs, but it doesn't work anymore. They needs an update to work with the current YouTube. So I install the package, so that gets the menu entry and the icon and everything all set up for you. And also, when they do push an update, you'll get the update. But then I go ahead and build it from source and update it. So you actually end up running 3.7 straight from GitHub. It's what it's doing right now, cloning the source code from GitHub, and now it's going to build it. And this is almost as slow as when it built Moksha from source. But that's because it's a graphical thing. It's got lots of video encoding, decoding stuff. But anyway, this Minitube runs. If you do want to watch YouTube on an old machine, this is the way to go. You'll see I'll do some demo when this is all installed. If you stick around after the install, actually skip through this install, you're just going to hear me rambling and watch text fly through the screen. Well, anyway, the Minitube is low memory, doesn't require the overhead of a browser, and it uses hardware video decoding. So with those two things, you can watch 720p videos on a machine on a Pentium 4 that you couldn't watch. You can barely watch 360p in a browser. So without maxing out your CPU, because browsers under Linux don't do hardware decoding, not unless you find some special ones. But in general, all the normal ones that this installed and people normally use, Firefox and Chromium and official Google Chrome on 64-bit machines, and Everything else don't use hardware decoding. Okay, so yeah, this is going to take a while to build, and then so it's building from source right now. You're compiling. There's a few warnings, but everything you build has warnings. So, well, not everything. Some people are amazing, but nothing to worry about. Let it run through. We'll finish building this, then it'll install some games, and then it'll reboot into Moksha. I'm gonna kill the mic again and check back probably in about, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe? 5 or 10 minutes? Probably 10 minutes. 10 minutes I'll probably be done. So I'm gonna check back, and I'll check back right at the 60-minute mark. So see how it's going, if I remember to check it at exactly 60. But that'll be my target. Mic And we're back. Alright, so it looks like it's about to do its first boot. Hour 22 in from when I started installing Debian. But, you know, I did make a couple mistakes with those reboots at the beginning, so we could shave a minute or two off. But yeah, it does take a while to compile that that Minitube app. But it's worth it if you want to watch YouTube on a machine with these kind of low resources. So it's preparing for first boot. Probably take another, I don't know, minute for this first boot. And what do I have to say while we wait? Not much. Here it is. So the first thing, okay, here it is. Okay, so yep, English. I didn't install any other languages, so there's none either on the menu. Yeah, all of this is just assuming basic English. I didn't install anything extra. Okay, so the first thing a normal person will probably want to do is set their resolution, because unless it's already right for you, obviously. Because I set it at the terminal, it's already fine, but if I hadn't have done that, it'd still be like 800 by 600 or 1025, I don't know, something not good. So this is how I would set it. I just click it, and then to save it so that it remembers it, this right here, Moksha, save there. Now it'll set it on boot, so or on the start of Moksha, which is good enough. Who cares about before then? Okay, so then you probably want to turn on the volume. Starts out with nothing. Alright, now I don't know, before I show you the app menu, let's go straight to themes. It defaulted to this art green theme, which is fine. I'm just gonna make a minor change. I'm gonna change the base theme to just regular green and assign it, but I'm gonna keep the modules at art green and assign it, and you'll see, because they have a better color green that I like. See this lighter green here? That's from the new theme, and I'm gonna go get rid of those from the settings panel. So let's get that big. Let's first do scaling. I want it bigger. How about, let's go real big, 1.7. I usually use 1.5 or 1.7 because I like things big. And then application theme, I'm going to stick with this arc green, because when you see over here, these green icons and arc green are darker, so I want to apply those and get all this stuff green, get to this dark green. And so I did application. Yeah, that's good enough. We're not going to go crazy customizing. Although this one didn't change colors, so sometimes Moksha isn't perfect. You can just restart it and it should, yeah. Okay, now we're dark green. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't switch desktops, so page, we're just going to remove that, make a little more room here. Set the clock a little fancier, not fancier, more detailed. Turn on this custom string time, take off the comma, take off the dot. Oops, leave a space though, and let's make that the full month. There we go, Monday the 15th of January. I don't need. Alright, okay, so the thing that probably people are most interested in is resource usage. I haven't even done the basics. So I told you I installed that. So we're at 146 megs out of the 493. As I mentioned before, it's a single 1.6 gig CPU. So let's open another terminal here. I'm going to keep these to the left of the task list. Okay, so I'm opening another terminal and do a little settings on this one. So I want let's make it bigger for starters. Let's go to bigger font. Let's go to 11. And that's not enough bigger for me. Now I didn't have to go out of settings. The bottom one, the toolkit, I want to change the scale to about 1.3. 1.3. Yeah, that's good. And let's close that one over there. Don't need that. And 1.3. What was the other thing I was going to do? Oh, the background. Use remove that texture. It would look better. So now this terminal will look a little better, and the settings will fit correctly. Like if let's do another, I can open another one this way too, new tab. But if I open settings now, you'd see everything fits. Well, close enough. If I didn't have it in 2 tabs, it would fit. Don't you? Oh, I gotta get out of the settings. Okay, I'm gonna stop playing scaling and actually show something useful. Just barely fits. Ah, you click the bottom to get out of it. Okay. Anyway, so let's, we've seen that. I got a System Resource Monitor app, one of the things I did install. So if we go through app, I thought I scaled that bigger, didn't I? Oh, because when I changed the terminal back to the scale I wanted. Again, when you change that elementary scale, it reset this scale, but this is still going to be right. Yeah, this is still right. Okay, so let's make this a little smaller. Let's just go 1 click down to 28. Let's go down to 24. Cool. So resource usage. System tools, so terminal, we know this is if we click on a package from the file manager. Let's go, I forgot this. And htop was the resource usage. I can also open the file manager down here. So you can see that memory here, 164 CPU. I'm just going to leave this somewhere we can see it a lot. And this is a N curses app, meaning these at the F keys work. You can resize it and it'll resize correctly. Make it like a little thing. Actually, what I could do, let's just leave it on top of things at the bottom. So I'll make it take off the borderless, and should have and also always on top, so it stays on top, and then move it down here by holding down Alt with the mouse on top of the taskbar. There, I can see the CPU and memory. Move it over this way. Do I need any of that stuff? Not right now. I'll keep the time on, but there. Cool. Alright, so file manager, a couple settings I like to make. Preferences are under edit. I like to change the default mode to detailed, but that's just personal preference. This one though, everyone wants to do, if you would. It just makes it so the icon shows up. If you don't do this, when you select terminal, it'll not have an icon in the corner. So like when you do open this in a current folder, if you want the icon and you want it to show up as an icon down here, then it needs to be set right. Okay, so that's file manager. Let's start down the bottom. Office, if you click on a PDF, it'll open. You don't really need to open it directly, but you can. But Minitube, that's what we spent like 15 minutes building, and I said, hey, this is a good way to watch. Let's just do my metal band I'm a fan of. So you just tell it something, search results come over here. I'm going to move, let's make it. This is still too loud overall. Man, blues. Oops. Okay. And let's kill that, and let's check out, applications, games. We also got SuperTux. How can you not check the resource usage when SuperTux is going? Let's skip that. Abort level. Let's just run around a second in the first level. Keep missing. I'm actually not that bad at this game. I don't have a controller plugged in them, but I'm used to that one. Oh no, I thought there was I'm used to. It must be over here somewhere. There it is. That's what I wanted. this can go full screen too. But, that's that game. See, it's, you know, memory, CPU, doing great. What else was the last game? Oh yeah, I gotta do a little. This one starts full screen. I could switch it out of full screen, but why? Let's do a race down this hill. Oh, that's right, they're Y, so you can see the CPU usage. Okay, yeah, but then if I do things while I'm playing, I'll probably not win on the next level. I think I can get to options between levels. If not, I'll just start over. They're not very long tracks. It's like 30 seconds is the. I mean, I think 24 seconds you gotta do to win. I've got a second left. Did I make it? I think I was too slow. Oh, I made it. Okay, good. I hardly ever make it, actually. So I got 22 fish. I needed 20. I only needed 37 seconds, and I got 30. Okay, good. So now I get configuration, full screen. Okay. Better resolution than that. Not auto. Then what do we got? What choices you got? Oh, auto. Maybe I can drag. So 1280 by 1280 by 1024. Yeah, that'll work. That's 1280 by 960. Oh no, that's not enough room. Well, it's enough room to see. Yeah. Okay. Let's try something different. Oh, I haven't earned enough stuff, so I can only play this level again that I already played. We got 150 megs of memory. CPU's. Oh, I still got my old track there. So I didn't. I never exited the game. I just exited back to the menu or something. Look at the stats and win at the same time. Did I make it? Oh, not slow enough. Not fast enough, or I missed the fish. Oh, that's fast enough, but I was one fish short. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to keep playing games. What else could there be to include in this? Just that it works, you know. I didn't, I mean, you've seen everything. I didn't install much, you know, ridiculously much. The extras were the things to open apps, like, you know, ImageMagick will open pictures, like let's do it from a file manager the way that I, just so you have something, and also it's what I open the terminal. File manager is a briefcase. There's probably something in, let's go to, I know where those, in icons, we have that stuff, of course. Let's go to that Debian icon vendor. And if I clicked on the black one, there it is. And get this ugly menu to do things like crop or scale or whatever. You can also drag. My edit, transform. The transforms are the things like that. Anyway, I'm going to exit out of it because I don't want to do any of that stuff. But that's that, and everything else will open that you click on because something's installed for almost everything. And then the package manager, everyone's seen Synaptic before. Asking you a password. Okay. Like if I wanted an office software, right? That's something I didn't pre-install because you may not want to run big old LibreOffice on an old machine, but you might. You know, it'll run. It'll just be kind of slow. You might want to use like AbiWord or something. Did it show it here when I searched for Office? It didn't actually, but AbiWord, you can go look at the Bodhi App Center. Anyway, AbiWord's going to be here. It just didn't come up under Office. Huh? Anyway, if we go down, for example, I'll show you LibreOffice is going to be here. HIJK LibreOffice. It's going to be version 7, I think, 7.0.4. Yeah, full-featured Office. You get screenshot, see what it looks like. LibreOffice. Anyway, a near drop-in replacement for Microsoft Office. Everyone knows it. LibreOffice. And then if you wanted that Abbey word, I'm sure it's here. That's like a simple. There it is. That's a basic word processor. Let's install it for fun. Okay, mark for installation and apply. Thought we'd be able to read about it while it was downloading, but no, they took away the words. But then of course, yeah, nothing to see here. There's the calendar. It's using all the CPUs, probably extracting or installing. Okay, yep, done. Okay, close. Oh, I should have read what that said. It probably said something that mattered. Close. Let's see what it did. See, it put it under Office, I bet. Yep, see? So it should have been they didn't put the word Office in their description, I guess. Anyway, it's a simple word processor. If you need one that's, not using much resources. What is it? Bring me a box of 5 dozen liquor jugs. Is that the one? It's something like that. Or some wizards. And 6. I think 6 is in it. Oh, I don't know. 6. Anyway, one of them's got all the letters in it. Oh yeah, web browsers. We got web browsers. So I didn't even. I just skipped over that. So let's start with web. I'll check every one. I'll just open up one page to see what it does. We'll use Bodhi Linux as an example. This one's using 200 megs of memory, 100% CPU to load the site, or whatever it's doing. I don't know. Don't make it my default. But should be loading by now, huh? Oh, there we go, loading. This is definitely not a fast browser. I thought it was. Okay, there it is. I'm just exaggerating. Impatience. Okay, so it's still using all the CPU just to show this web page. 250 megs of RAM and all the CPU just to look at that page. Yeah, it's not going down. And we could pull this monitor up a bit so we can see what the first process is. I didn't make it big enough. Let's give me some borders back so I can expand this window. Okay, Epiphany. Look, it's the primary thing, and then the Xorg, which is graphics. So it's still using lots of CPU just to sit here. But there it is. That's Epiphany. But it didn't use a lot of memory. We'll go. Now we'll go to the most. Go all the way to Firefox. See the other end of the spectrum. Firefox will do everything, but it is not super resource friendly. And we're going to go to bodhilinux.com. I'm going to close the other tab, and it's starting. It's already using more memory, but it seems to be going a little quicker about loading the site up. Still using all the CPU to do it, but once it's loaded, does it slow down? Sitting here. I wonder what this website does. It uses the CPU. Okay, no, it's going down. No, it's still using a lot of CPU just to look at this web page. Wow. A lot of web pages don't do much, but this one obviously not well designed. Okay, let's try. The next browser we'll go with is Pale Moon. This one's light, but fully functional. So you can see, occasionally run into a website that that doesn't load with GNOME Web. So let's go to bodhilinux.com. So its memory usage is, it's less, 230. CPU still going up. It only went up to 100 for a short time. And look at that. Look at that CPU usage. Is that not incredible? Okay. Those other browsers don't know what they're doing. Look at that. I just got to say that again. Look at that. Alright, let's see what Chromium does. Oh, and yeah, its memory was, I don't know what, 230. Yeah, you can scroll back in a video, so I didn't forget. Me not noting it doesn't matter. And we'll go with so 100%. Taking a minute to get going. Sometime soon. Show me this page. This is as slow as GNOME Web. My God. Yay, Chromium. Will it ever work? No, I know this Chromium should work. Did I not hit enter? That would be a pretty... No, it wouldn't be at 100% if it was doing nothing. It's using CPU. What's it doing? It's using lots of CPU. It's got lots of threads going all at once, which doesn't make a lot of sense on a single core CPU, but hey, that's how it works, which is efficient on multi-core CPU. Is it ever going to show the page? Man, okay. I see that it's got the header. Yeah, I'm gonna say a no for Chromium, man. Chromium usually works for everything too, just like Firefox. It's just, so I'm really actually surprised. I don't know what's going on here. I feel like giving it another chance, like giving a new tab, try something else, like okay, Debian.org. Kidding me. Google.com, come on, your own site better work. Well, something's just not right today with Chromium, but the other three browsers showed something, and that one came from the regular repo. It wasn't from Unstable or anything.